Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Got an unusual one today as I'm playing as Israel. Now, the last time I tried this it ended really poorly and I'm trying to sort of learn this deck a little bit more. I know it's very powerful, I know it has been, well it was for a while anyway in the community, a bit of a pay-to-win type DLC, but it's one, frankly, I can never quite wrap my head around. There's so many units I want to make work, and they don't quite seem to, but I'm playing on the same team as I Hate Helos, who of course was on the channel previously in some of our larger games, and he's going into Bravo and Delta, just encountering a ton of helicopters very early on. Of course, DHS Mi-24Ps are very, very deadly, and they're going to be able to outduel that Tiger, and then you have a bunch of aerial ATGMs that are going to be giving you a really hard time. In the meantime, I'm going up against Vimes in Foxtrot and Echo, so a bit more of a classical engagement than our, well, our relatively common take my towns. But so far, I mean, we're 50-50 on that, right? So he'll win one, I'll win one. Nobody's yet been able to get an edge. So the helicopters from Antone is just crushing through my ally here, and that's going to be really difficult for us to deal with for a while. Crotal is up and in position finally, so DHS able to take care of those, but in the meantime, Antonis is just pushing right through toward Gulf, trying to rush our home zone, which is definitely freaking me out here at the moment as I'm dealing with Vimes' push into Echo and Foxtrot as well. So good fire from the Merkava IIAs, these transports. I was trying to see if I could get better use out of them than previously. I've heard since my first attempt that they're basically just for knife fighting in woods, so I mean, 9 rounds is not a lot of ammunition. Had to move it to put people in there, and still, I would not want to be part of a 10-man squad inside of this thing, because, I mean, this is the Gimel, yeah, but they're about the same size. So, Rovite 90 do make it to the town. I have some Auxiliary backing them up, and a Ram Recce just trying to scout forward to see if there's anything here that I need to be aware of, but yeah, there definitely is at least 1, maybe 2 tanks there, and I do have some Moglon moving up, but they're not quite able to get in range, and in the meantime, a Tiger had coming up for my ally trying to secure against Antonis' push, and we can see he's kind of just stopped short of his objective. I think maybe he was trying to secure those woods. So Bedouin's moving over to make sure we have eyes on there, and the combination of the scouting from the Bedouins and the Tiger had as a deterrent should be okay, but SPW's making it all the way through, and a very vulnerable group of command infantry from I Hate Helos, so he's going to have to move back to cover that somehow. In the meantime, his infantry are fighting pretty well in Bravo, and I'm getting some smoke here as I have lost a couple Auxiliaries and basically spotted an enemy tank, and I say spotted, is more of a he's killing even my Bedouins as they try and push up to the forward woods. A bit of a mistake on my part. If I just moved these guys over to the left a little bit, they would have been hidden behind the woods here. We do get a little bit of return fire, but the first shot is a miss, and the Megach 7C Gimel is going to be outclassed by a T-72S, which is what, unfortunately, we're facing. He's dealt 4 points of strength, I've dealt 2. In the meantime, Specjalny Jednostki pushing through the town, and I'm trying to secure a little bit of a forward position here, but Auxiliaries run into more than they can handle. The Merkava IIA is now out of main tank rounds, firing in against Specjalny, which isn't going to be that effective inside of towns themselves. And I didn't show it earlier, but the Ram TCM did take down a Siphon, so at least we have some security on our flank. A couple of FACO vehicles, that's an interesting choice. And they're just 15 points, right? So that's actually not bad to draw out ATGMs, things like that. But it looks like they might be taken down by the HAD. Yeah, they were. And I think that's most of what was on this side. It was just the units that pushed through here don't really seem to have been heavy armor or anything like that. Bit of an oddball choice here, the Mi-8R. This is, of course, the big boy, the exceptional optics 75-point Scout Helo. Not a common choice from what I've seen, of course, paired with an Mi-24D that will be very deadly. And I don't know, things have kind of stated out, so the Red 4 do have control of Bravo combined with me not yet capping Foxtrot. That means that we're down by nearly 100 points and +2 ticking to our opponents, so looking a little bit shaky here, but my ally has been able to get infantry forward at the far end of Delta, a bit of a defensive wall. It would be better to have some sort of infantry at this pass, just because it's another point that can be attacked, but now we have helicopters from Antone supporting the push on my side, and my Megach 7C Gimel is not going to be happy about that. Of course, taken out as well. The Moglons killed by rocket pods, and the Megach killed by a bunch of ATGMs. Just cheap fletas, which was really just adding insult to injury at that point. But they're also going to be moving up, trying to get rid of my Rovite in the woods. That we're, of course, engaging with Vimes LSTR 1, 2, and 3. But we do have an answer on the way. Seifa E coming over with those Stinger missiles, and also Puma Cassiope trying to support from I Hate Helos, which At the moment, I very much did hate helos. My Rovait had been killed in an engagement they should have won, but 1 shot and 2, that's 1 helicopter down. These guys are 55 points each, so kind of making up for the lost Rovaites, and LSTR taken down by the CFE. They whiffed their first shot, and that was the whole story. But my Rovait are being pushed. I have barely anything left in Foxtrot, just some damaged Rovait 90, and an Auxiliary Pikud that had been called in before that push happened, before those helicopters crushed my Magach 7C Gimel and denied a large part of my ability to resist anything here in Fox. So things were looking pretty sketchy at the moment, but a K-Fighter 7C called in as a quick answer, and that single large bomb is going to take out, I think, 2 entire units of infantry and at least 1 transport in that. So that was absolutely brutal. Probably saved my whole position at that point. We see those dead men laying on the ground. Unfortunate for them, but fortunate for me. RemTCM chasing a little bit against the MI2. Let's have to see. Yes, the guns are online, and pretty quick work there, so he's done. But I shouldn't have really moved forward. I should probably move back. I think that's where the RemTCM was lost. And now we can see, I Hate Helos he's maintained his foothold on the far side of Bravo. We've now plugged the gap on the, between Golf and Bravo as well. And if I can get a little bit better footing here, we might be able to get something done. So it's a little bit less risky than it was previously, and most of the infantry that Helos is encountering are just huge stacks of reserve Schutzen, which, I mean, hey, they're doing their job. 15 strength militiamen are very nice, and they're holding while the supporting elements from Antones are hitting. So, I mean, hey, can't fault that. That's good play right there. At least I think it's good play, which might be part of my own issue, but I don't know, it looked good. We are securing this center woods, as it seemed like there was some action going on, and I don't want people sneaking through. Merkava 3B had been pushed over to Hilo's side of the board to support against that, the incoming enemy pressure through Bravo, but now is going to be cycling over to support in Fox. Merkava 2A with 2 shots left, and a little bit of support from Helos as well. Should be making my life quite a bit easier. We do still have a mortar here, and infantry in Auxiliaries moving up to support the Rovait 90. Motschützen from Vimes, and if he had done this a little bit earlier, that might have been really, really catastrophic, because before I had the other 2A, before I had the Merkava 3B moving over, and a little bit of reinforcements moving through here, 4 men in a Rovait team are not going to be enough. But the Merkava 2A, resupplied by an Oshkosh, is going to be opening up with those frag rounds and those main cannon rounds, and this guy was the one who was out of ammo previously, so that would not have been an option, and those Motschützen are just kind of caught in the middle. It looks like he lost line of sight. Damn. That would have been a really nice way to finish off those infantry, but unfortunately not going to be done right then. Rovait intercepting more reinforcements to the woods, and I'm feeling very happy that we were able to get more men into that position and deny Motschützen their woods fighting opportunity. But the Rovait have now been engaged, and Motschützen, even as damaged as they are, will be a definite problem to deal with. Oh, man. So this is why I'm not a big fan of these expensive scout helos, of course, being shot at by Mistral. Should have been moved after the first shot, but doesn't quite look like it, and that's 75 points gone. Well, I mean, look at that. He's fired 3 times, and this guy hasn't budged, so that's a little bit on Antones there. 4? Really? You're kidding me. Just shoot 5 times to get the kill. 5, and... okay, this has changed a little bit from, like, 6. How many can he dodge? Okay, 7 shots to take down that guy. Should have definitely been moved previously, but no such luck for the Red 4 player. Rovait 90, these are the new ones from my Auxiliaries, are able to intercept enemy Motschützen and should be able to secure this position. In the meantime, I'm smoking off these woods, smoking off that town, trying to deny my enemy his fire superiority there, which has been a problem. And now we've got a little bit of forward motion from Rovait and a couple of Merkavas and Auxiliary trying to clear out that wood section. In the meantime, this was an attack marker dropped by Helos, who had found the enemy command vehicle. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get artillery on it before his Jaeger take that out, but I had called in a couple of Cardon artillery pieces, just trying to get a little bit more long-range support than we had previously. Of course, Tornado 1DS bomber is going to get that kill, but we did spot some radar AA, and the Tornado takes 1 hit, and let's see, second shot on the way. Nope, looks like he did get out, so very nice. But Bravo has been uncapped. We're finally able, nearly 200 points down in this match, we're finally able to neutralize our opponent's advantage. And we still have 30 minutes left in the game, but you guys will notice only 20 left in the replay. So it doesn't quite go all the way. There is either a victory on points or a surrender that will come here, so draw your own conclusions on that. Kurnos coming in and able to get a nice cheeky kill on a Nieva and dodge the return fire. That was very nice, but my forward push here has been kind of crushed. The Merkava IIA got wrecked. The Rova 890 got wrecked. It was a bit of an unwise push, but I found sometimes, and Vimes and I play each other quite a lot, sometimes if I push forward in what seems like strength, it'll at least give him pause. Now, this is about the time I noticed that this Merkava 3B had been spotted, and had been spotted for a while, which is definitely not ideal in any case. I mean, it means that enemy ATGM planes can come in, it means that enemy ATGM infantry squads can fire in, and it means that I'll be really struggling in tank fights as the enemy tank got the first shot before I was able to spot him. So, one shot going in, and it looks like the T-72S is outclassed there. Of course, the 3B does have really thick frontal armor, 21 against the T-72s, I believe, what is it, 18 or 19? 18, yeah. So the Merkava 3Bs would have the upper hand there. I'm just retreating out of the way because I was expecting retaliation from some sort of plane, and I should have been smoking this position. I was trying to cut off the T-72S's line of sight, and it worked for a bit, right? So if that guy had moved forward and gotten a shot when I was engaging the other one, it would have potentially been on the side armor of the 3B, and I could have lost the tank entirely. So, looking over at how Helos is doing, it looks like the militia have been chewed through, so Antone is definitely having a hard time dealing with Helo's constant pressure here, and Jaeger moving up, Commandos Perro moving up, a couple of cheap fire support vehicles just sort of seeing what sort of opposition they'll encounter, and a couple of Cannon and Jagdpanther, just, you don't see that all that often, but 12 rounds a minute is very nice as a fire support vehicle. I mean, it'll outpace the damage of a main battle tank against infantry in towns, just because every shot that's a hit will be 1 as opposed to 3 or 4, right? So, Auxiliary unfortunately taken down, and ATGM's coming in on my Hummer, which are carrying Sanahim, so I wasn't exactly happy about that, but we are able to drop them off. Also, Mord Sanahim reinforcing the Rova 890 in that town, and I'm starting to feel a bit more confident as, there's a VAB from Helos coming up with Command Infantry. If we can get that +1, we might be able to stay in this game. Enemy planes are going to be an increasing problem, though, as we've gone long enough that people have the points to spend on them. Leopard 1A5 from Hilo is also kind of exposing his side armor there, and there's an ATGM already on the way. Let's see if he can make it to his position. The Cardoms, by the way, doing absolutely amazing work, just pounding into that town. Yeah, and ATGM does take down that tank, unfortunately. A couple of cheap tanks from Antones, and I think he used a lot of really cheap stuff. Of course, there's LSTR right there as well, so not exclusively, but I think it definitely hurt the longevity on that side of the board. The Cardoms, meanwhile, this was absolutely brutal. I think they killed 1 unit of infantry outright and just decimated the other men that were holding this town, which, I mean, if we think about their contribution to the battlefield, right? The infantry holding that town have so far only been useful once when I pushed in, and otherwise we're just a holding force without too much application, and they get taken out for free by Cardome artillery. They also weren't contributing to the first push either. So Kurnos coming in, and double set of Neva, so I am going to be marking that for the next round of artillery fire, and now we have another push coming in from Vimes trying to clear me out of these woods, and we'll have to see. It might be another case of too little too late, as the Merkava 3B opens up, Mogollon's opening up as well, and yeah, they're just transports, but every bit of support that I can take offline is of course very valuable, and the Merkava 3B does have a frag launcher, and that will be slowing down Motschützen. But here comes a Syria 30, K-Führer C7 as well from my end. I'm trying to bomb this advance out of existence, but that Syria is looking for my Merkava, missiles on the way, 1 hit, and the thick armor on the 3B has kept me alive for right now, while the K-Feeder and other fire support has been able to stop Vimes' advance, and this is the first time I truly felt we might be able to get local superiority here and stop just hanging on by the skin of our teeth. So, meanwhile, Helos is moving up, a couple AMX-10 RCs, but taking a bit of fire there, and, I mean, Reserve Schützen moving up KPZs. It's not a lot of quality from our enemies on that side. Another plane coming in, I think ATGM plane by the look of it? No, Big Bomber. And I wonder if he can get out. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But Bomb's actually a swing and a miss, which is pretty good. Another bomber coming in from Vimes, and this one will probably have a bit more accuracy. I'm trying to sound him out of there. Oof. Yeah, so that was the MiG-12. Wait. Ooh. I don't remember the name of that one, but it was the napalm bomber that does HE. So there's only one like it in the game, and I have completely just poof right out of my head what the name of that guy is. So very nice, and my Tsanahim did not stand a chance. Retreating a little bit in the town as well as, I said I was feeling confident, but this is a dangerous push. And the Tsanahim engaging with Mochutsun is going to be a pretty symmetrical fight, which is not what I want to take when the rest of my forces are on the retreat. So Anyafa coming in with a couple of special forces, other infantry coming in, Merkava IIAs and Auxiliaries, just trying to fill out this town a bit more. Syria 30 luckily does not get a lot of success there, and the MiG 29913S not finding a target. Meanwhile, LSTR moving up, very expensive, but very capable, and they're chewing right through my Tsanahim with that elite training and the STG 943 primaries. Meanwhile, a lot of just odd fire support vehicles moving up, and my Rova were just straight running out of anti-tank weapons, and the support from the Cassiopeas and the Tiger are going to make the difference there. So another bomber coming in, this time from my side, and we're trying to crush the Red 4 advance here. My Machbet taking a little bit of fire as he did open up on, I believe it was the MiG earlier on, but LSTR are able to clear out this town, which has been well and truly lost. And I mean, hey, if the Red 4 team can push through into Fox, they might make up for losing their hold on Bravo. In the meantime, the center woods push, I mean, it looks like the Merkava IIAs are firing in. My own Baz is sort of dueling in the air there, getting one kill and two kills off of a single run off the Baz, which was, I was elated at the time, because that's the sort of points advantage that we needed. Force our opponents to spend on more planes and more planes and more planes, while I made up for the difference on the ground. Rovait able to withstand this a little bit, and a bomber coming in, but the Machbet opening up and taking him down. Another Syria coming forward, let's see what he's looking for. And finally the 3B does go down. I was trying to get him out of danger there, but he ended up taking a side shot from the Syria. Very much not what I had wanted. A little bit of return fire there, but the Syria is going to be back and real soon. Sooner than I'd like, certainly by a mile. But Foxtrot has held. I have some smoke going in behind that town, trying to cut off line of sight, reinforcing it. The car domes opening up, and I think they did pretty decent damage to the LSTR there as well, paving the way for my Rovait to make it across that open ground. Auxiliaries, meanwhile, and yeah, these guys were forced path through napalm. This was a complete mistake on my part, and I should have probably apologized to those infantrymen's families as they're running through just tons of flame, but fortunately it does sort of burn itself out there. Anyafa is moving up just to draw fire away from the Auxiliaries and Rovait, as we're getting a pretty good engagement here. Lots of Mochutsun, but the Rovait, I mean, they're doing okay. The Auxiliaries are, I mean, here's the thing. 10 frontal armor against infantry that can't really deal with that in one or two shots, so, less than outstanding AP on their secondaries, gonna have a really hard time. And another K-Feeder coming in. These guys were just brutal toward Vimes' push. And let's see, there it is. Infantry is gone, and the position is secure once more. So, looking over at Helos, there's some bombing runs over into Delta, as it looks like Antonius was trying to shift the paradigm here a little bit. Very nice attempt. If you are running into a brick wall over and over and over again, it's always a good thing to try to change things up. But, yeah, so I think artillery did come in, and one of the Navas was killed, but another one was opening fire there. We also have the T-72S marked, and I'm going to be trying to engage him relatively soon. Seaplane coming in, swing and a miss, and now the Vulcan cannon's off, so that second shot won't be getting fired, and Stinger missiles will still be opening up. So one shot and a miss, second shot and a miss, but some support from my ally here, and we're able to fend off. Well, I guess neither one of them went down. I thought they did. Jaguar A did get a nice kill there against enemy's radar AA, so that was pretty nice. And we caused a kerosene leak, so at least he's not going home in mint condition. In the meantime, Merkava IIA supporting a push as Rovait and Shayatet are trying to push into the, finally, for the first time in this game, trying to get a successful toehold in Echo. So, the Merkava IIA's frag launcher is really making all the difference. Look at this. What shoots in that 12, 10, 9, 8. Shayatet, of course, are no slouches either, but I think it was really the fire support that made the difference, also being able to prevent my opponent from moving up reinforcements to cut off that supporting fire. So they are going to be moving back, and my men will be taking advantage of that strategic retreat here any second. K-Feeder coming in, as well as a Kurnos, trying to get even more kills on radar AA. We actually shoot down a FLA SFL that was coming in to replace some of the damaged radar AA. And most of my opponent's backline stuff has taken quite a beating. Kurnos actually looping through and getting another one just just for kicks and giggles before he goes back to refuel and rearm. So, Shaitet engaging with Przminski, and the Dragunov is very deadly, but a PKM opening up as well. Usually you want the Dragunov opening up outside of range or outside of spotting of enemy infantry, particularly good enemy infantry like elite troops, and the Przminski are not really happy about it. No, they will drop out of sight until they fire again, and that's kind of annoying, but now we have the Rovait 90 moving up, Shaitet soon to be moving up, Kardom's just pounding that backwoods, and I was starting to get the sense maybe, hey, just maybe, we might be able to push through. More reinforcements going to the woods, though, as the Red 14 was able to clear that out pretty well. And if we look at Bravo, the last man of that LSTR unit getting killed by Dekonsgruppe should be pretty nice for us. Of course, the Carl Gustav M2s could also be opening up on KPZs, but it doesn't look like that's the current firing priority. But Rovait killing the last of the Przminski and Motschützen should allow me to push into that town. SPW is trying to move across, but 2 more shots from Merkava IIAs, and these guys, I don't know. I don't like the idea of paying 100 points for not exceptional infantry reinforcements and not exceptional tanks, right? I'd rather pay for exceptional infantry and exceptional tanks separately, but I gotta say they were handy. They did their work, and that's all that matters sometimes. Enemy CV spotted, immediately taken down by the Shaitet. And that means Echo has also dropped. We're taking out a +2, 18 minutes left in the game, less than that again in the recording, only 10 minutes left in, well, how long the game was actually played. But taking out a +2, we should be able to make up our deficit here quicker than I had feared, I think. I had no hopes of pushing through this zone earlier on, but the Shaitet, the Rovait, taking down the infantry in this town is going to give my opponent a really hard time securing that. And Neva SC also a little too far forward. This was safe until just a moment ago, but it needs to be hightailing it out of there right now, because what's going to happen is my Cardoms are going to open up, or we're going to have the Kurnos back in trying to take that guy down. Of course, I don't know, so it's always the tricky thing. If the radar AA is off, but the unit is spotted, does the seaplane shoot? And I think the answer is actually no. So I sent in a Barak, and this is just an ATGM plane. Neva gets the first shot, and the Barak is able to take him down. So direct fire against the Neva by a plane. It's not exactly ideal. Vacta regiments moving in, and Mistrals are suffering from that, actually able to spot Hilo's command infantry, and this was a very nice move. So they moved into that block. It's going to make it very hard for supporting elements to fire in, and the Vacta regiment can definitely win that. So these guys are, of course, 15 points, 15 strength, shock training infantry, and you can see the command infantry actually has their guns off, so they're not even returning fire at all, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. So Jaeger moving over to support, Dekonsgruppe moving over to support, and Bravo has been a knockdown, drag-out fight the whole time, so I mean, hey, kudos to the enemy team for that. This has not been anything close to an easy game. In the meantime, in Delta, there are a couple Mi-24Ps moving forward, and Kassaiips are no match for that. So those Molnia infrared missiles will take these guys out at range before those autocannons can open up. Interesting. Don't know why there's an ASF over there, but I guess he wanted to give the Roland things to shoot at, so who am I to question it? But the command infantry have been taken out. We have lost Bravo. Now just taking out a +1 because Echo has been taken care of. But Assyria 30 is coming in, and my 3D Baz is right here. Let's see what happens. One shot. He only survived because Assyria rolled a miss. So that tank should be dead. I should have been getting punished for that sloppy play. But just out of luck, he did survive, and the Merkava IIA is able to finish off the enemy T-72 ass in that woods position. So at this point, I'm moving a couple of things forward in various places. Ram Reki, unfortunately, taken out, and an enemy hardpoint here was discovered. I'm trying to get Bedouins up and into the town, but I'm not sure. If they're spotted, they might not be able to quite make it there. And yeah, the enemy guns are opening up a little bit sooner than I'd like, trying to just get into that town. The second they do, they should stop being spotted, but it actually does let us get eyes on enemy reinforcements. So, some cheap mechanized infantry, well, infantry fighting vehicles, along with Motschützen 90, and this is a real threat, but an interesting thing happens here. The Merkava IIAs have line of sight. I mean, this is a lot, right? There's a lot of enemy reinforcements coming in. Definitely wanted this section back, did not want me to hold on to it for very long at all, and my apologies if you guys can hear the screaming baby. My hope is that won't be a very long thing. And not my baby, but the neighbors. So, you know, things Just city life being city life. Anyway, Merkava IIA is still providing good fire, and the Shaitet and Rovait were holding way better than I had expected them to, and you can see the enemy reinforcements have been just completely zoned out. I think some smoke might have gotten them into the town, and if that many Motschutzen had gotten into the town, that definitely would have been the end of my control over it. So, another Syria coming in, and down goes Ram Reki, probably initially called in against Merkava, but not able to get him, and now we have a Barak coming in against him, not able to get the kill, but a Kurnos and the Kefir coming in to crush the enemy infantry reserves in the forward force there, and I don't know, I'm with my ally here. I also do hate helos. Because I have no answer to that Mi-24P, trying to maybe scare him with the Tsefa B, and he does kind of move back. I think sometimes people mistaking the B for the E might cause them to move their helicopters back a little bit more than they should. Of course, the Tsefa B has no AA weaponry. Auxiliary Pekud moving up just to assist helos here because he has been fighting so hard in Bravo, and we're able to recap that town. Also, Charlie was taken out. This was a bombing run. A bit of either a lucky guess or just scouting that I didn't see, but Helos was able to take out that CV, and with Charlie gone, we're taking out a +4, and yeah, this is where it starts to get into just the counteroffensive, I would say, because Helos and I were very much on the defending end here for quite a while. We're going to speed things up to 2, as, I don't know, the mid-game sometimes gets a little bit not boring by any stretch, but just kind of methodical, I would say. But so can the end of games when things get a little bit more one-sided. Mi-24P going dangerously close to my formations, and a Machbet moving up, able to take him down, and still retreat from a Snezka. Maybe this is still the Machbet that I had out all that time ago, hanging on with a single point in strength still, which was just kind of amazing. Antonis moving up reserve Schutzen, and it's not going to be enough. The Looks are opening up the AMX-13, and Tornado 1DS dropping bombs on that entire formation makes this whole thing a bit of an exercise in futility there, unfortunately for Antonis, because if they had gotten in, could have very well done a hold him and hit him just like previously. Baz going in after the Syria 30 again, and one hit, but not enough to take that plane down. DHS still causing me problems. I have a Shanav up now, and this guy does have 3325, I believe. Well, yeah, 3325 range against helicopters, but it's not enough. He's fired all 3, only got 1 hit, and yeah, it was 9 points in damage, but that's a big boy attack helicopter. He has 10 strength. He does not care about my Shanav's capabilities. Unfortunately, that did crush some of my tanks that were supposed to be moving forward into the far side of Echo, and Vimes has definitely been holding me off better than I anticipated so far into the game. I had thought, particularly given the number of T-72Ss that had gone down, I might be able to get more forward progress there than I was. So, Commandos Para from Helos moving forward and killing a Snezka, and spotting them was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for our opponents here. They're just like, okay, you guys are through to our home zone, there's recon there, it's going to be really difficult to come back from that. Bravo is completely held, there's even forces past Bravo intercepting toward Charlie from Helos, and bombing runs coming in directly at Alpha. And this was amazing. I was just looking at it going, alright, well, what does this really hope to achieve? I don't know if it's this one or the next one, but I think it's this one. Let's see, those bombs land. No. So, I mean, he's just pounding the city there. Lots of people leave command infantry in the city because the woods are really predictable and will get fired at with artillery quite often. So anything short of a command tank, which is really expensive in those woods, will often get killed just senselessly, right? But unfortunately, the knowledge that people do that has shifted things to where people now bomb the hell out of the town, hoping for incidental damage against 5-strength command infantry. My own forces are moving up, Merkava 3D Baz, Merkava IIA, trying to finish off what's left in these woods, and that frag launcher is proving just crazy valuable here. Of course, the 3D Baz doesn't have one. We do have the little hot ATGMs, but infantry fighting, that's not quite as effective. We're just holding a little bit at standoff range and shooting in, trying to deny knife fighting range with those really expensive tanks I would absolutely hate to lose. T-72S spotted, and now a couple of KPZs coming in from Antonis, just a last desperate defense, but I'm not sure if it's going to be quite enough. Of course, my forces have, with a little bit of artillery support, been able to push through on this side, and the Promass is not going to be enough to hold that in. And let's see, yes, this is the bombing run. So Tornado 1DS is coming in, just methodically working through that town on a grid, now that all the AA has been taken out, allowing them to do so. And there it is, enemy command infantry killed in alpha. We're up, ticking at a +3, and that is going to bring us to the end of this game more rapidly than the enemy team would have liked. So, kills and losses were actually way more asymmetrical than either one of us thought. During the game, Helos and I were talking about it during, and certainly at the beginning, it felt like we were just getting crushed through. I think this is maybe what happens when things shift back a little bit. I think a lot of these kills on our side, well, our kills against them, were in the final closing sections of that game where all the expensive supporting elements were getting killed by frontline units, and that's really not what you want. So, pretty asymmetrical kill-death, but a very, very nice, very back-and-forth game nonetheless. Particularly at the start, I was terrified. Merkava IIA did wonderfully, and this went a long way toward convincing me, okay, well maybe this isn't the worst thing ever. Kill on a T-72S of all things, and lots of infantry. The MTCM did well. 7C Gimmels, they're kind of, I wish they were 10 points cheaper. I'm more comfortable with an M84A than I am, that's 95 points, but still, more comfortable with that than I am with a 7C Gimmel. Don't quite know why off the stats, but, you know, that just is how it is. Seifa E did very well, getting a couple very expensive helicopters and the LSTR with his rocket pods. And other than that, Kurnos was just really reliable. Not a lot of high-value kills there, just the cheap 35-point radar AA pieces, but that was able to force my opponent to spend and also weaken his AA net, which, hey, that works for me. And the Cardoms also got a lot of kills, including on a Neva SC, lots of LSTR. These were the guys in that town that I had wanted to push previously, so that was definitely something I enjoyed. Moglon as well, I don't know, KPZs are very cheap. I'm not sure it was necessarily worth it, given the Moglon's low availability and the fact that I did lose the unit. But Kfir Bomber is the last one I want to mention, just crushing Vimes' infantry push and probably saving me from getting pushed out of that zone in the early game. Alright, so that's all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.